Hey, good afternoon. One Nation, it's George Bunny here. Hope all my brothers and sisters are doing well. And, today I'm just going to talk about something I seen. I was watching Tabitha Speaks, and she was talking about how white people are having black fatigue. It's amazing. They have black fatigue. They're tired of us talking about their racism, their bigotry, their oppression. They think it's unwarranted. They're being treated unjustly. These people whine their asses off, and we need to stop listening to this crap that they spew forward. Even when it comes to slavery. I'm like, let's not talk about that. That's so long ago. Well, no, you guys still have slave practices in place today. In your heart of hearts, you still think that you own or control black people. You can't let go of that. I mean, I understand it was 400 years or so of oppression where you had black people do everything that you wanted. And the last 100 years or so have probably been pretty tough because you cannot let go of the fact that you don't own us, that we're not your property. But yet and all, you still want to act like you're in control of us. You believe that we should somehow kneel to you, that we should bow down to what you have to say, that you are the ultimate authority of whatever the hell's in your mind, because you guys' minds was kind of really screwed up. I mean, actually, you superior white people have just messed America up badly, worse than you probably know. But see, this is the thing. We are not your property. We're not your people. We're not your subjects. We're not your kids. We are human beings the same way white people are. But they have a problem with that. Have a big problem with that. See, if anytime we have something that we want to complain about or that we want to bring to the attention of them that's bothering us, they don't want to hear that. They don't think that we have the right to protest their actions. Because they never say, okay, well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to, have a council or whatever. They never do that. The first thing they want to do is call popo or go out and exterminate you, especially if you have power. And we know that. There's a long historical reference of that. And we do know that it's government influence, or their government actions is done through the government. Of course, there's some instances where, where they say it's a lone shooter or whatever. We know better than that. I mean, we know that a paid informant in the Black Panther Party was the person that opened the door to where Fred Hampton and his girlfriend were sleeping when he was exterminated by the government, by the FBI. They own up to the fact that they did that, but they said it was because it was a protectionist type situation, whatever they said. But this is what they do to us. They take us out and they make up all these different reasons why they had to do that. I mean, you look at even in Africa, they're over there pillaging these people, taking the resources, not paying them anything for what they're taking. France is the third highest gold exporter in the world, but they have no gold mines, not one. All their gold comes from West Africa and Central Africa, the colonized countries that they still have control over. The reason that they have attempted to assassinate Ibrahim Traore for over 20 times? Because he's leading the revolution against their oppression. He's kicked the French and Americans out of Burkina Faso and subsequently out of Mali and Niger as well. Now, today, Namibia today and Ghana has also done it. They're trying to stop this action that's going on for us trying to gain our sovereignty from them. And it's the hardest thing to do because they're so utterly dependent upon us. And that's what we got to look at. They're dependent upon us. They may try and act from a place of power because they have other powers in the country, but they have no power. I even believe at some time here in America, they're going to want to come to the black community for support to vouch for who they are. Because they're getting kicked out of Africa and away from all those resources. That is happening. The revolution in Africa is real, which our revolution here needs to be real as well. It's not done through violence. It's done through separation. Separation and come back on different terms. But until you could come back that way, leave us the hell alone. As Frederick Douglass says, all we want is for you to leave us the hell alone. And this is something that they can't do because they've been dependent upon black people for so much of their life and their way of life. They're scared to damn death of what would happen when we separate from them. If black people today started leaving America in droves by the thousands and the millions, they would stop that. They would stop it. They would not let us leave. They'll tell us go back to Africa, but if we all start going back to Africa, them some bitches gonna be scared to death because they don't know how to survive on their own without taking from other people their resources, their manpower, their knowledge. Yes, I said their knowledge, because all mathematics, astronomy, all that originated in Africa. Their top scholars, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, they studied in Africa. Greece was a torn country until the Phoenicians went and helped develop them. The Phoenicians were black. As a matter of fact, Philip, who was a Phoenician, was the man who helped Jesus Christ carry the cross when they were beating and getting ready to eliminate him. See, the problem with them is that they've done all this dirt in the world and they don't know how to reconcile. They don't want to reconcile because they don't want to recognize who they are. And it's just sure, it's the Americans and the Europeans, and it's not all European countries. We know, like me, I know for sure that America is the top hegemon. They're the most dangerous of the whole group right now. America. In America, we have a white supremacist president, a white supremacist vice president, a white supremacist Speaker of the House, a white supremacist Secretary of the military, and a white supremacist Secretary of Homeland Security, a white supremacist Attorney General. These people are white supremacists. Matter of fact, the majority of Trump's government are white supremacists. Even these ICE agents that they have, the majority of them are white supremacists. That's why they handle Latin people and Arab people and black people with total disdain. Total disdain. No rights, no due process, no concern for their rights, even as a human being. But that's what white supremacy is about. And the problem they're going to have is that they're going to find, they're finding now, they haven't realized it, but they're finding that their white supremacist actions has basically decimated America. Sure, right now we don't feel it, but wait till all this trade stuff starts, these shelves start becoming empty. Wait till there is no money. Wait till all these people are losing all their jobs. And that's not the half of it. The other part is they've been doing this hegemon, white supremacist trash for years. And this latest move where they decided that they were going to extort the world. Sure, people are going to still try and figure out a way to deal with them, whatever, but they are decoupling from America. They're going to reduce their risk in America. You know, say the straw that broke the camel's back? Well, Trump was the straw that broke this camel's back. Africa is decoupling from America. China is decoupling from America. All these Asian countries, they're decoupling. Not saying they're going to segregate, but they are not going to put their economies and their people in the hands of America or any Europeans. Because you got to remember that India, Africa, and China, and Vietnam, and a lot of Cambodia, Indonesia, they have been formerly colonized. They are not going back. Us in America, we were slaves. So it wasn't about colonization. It was straight up beat, whip, and hang. Do or be chained up like this picture you see behind me. That was from this guy, King Leopold, responsible for the death in 23 years of 15 million Africans in the Congo. 15 million. They don't talk about that either. They'll tell you all about the Jews and what the Nazis did to the Jews of about 6 or 7 million. But this 15 million that this guy eliminated, not to mention that when these guys didn't bring back their quota of rubber from the trees, when they didn't have enough, they didn't have their quota, they would cut off their kids' hands or feet and give it to them and say, tomorrow you'll do better. That's European justice for black people. Same way here in America. If we don't do what they think we need to do or act the way they want us to act, they will exterminate us right on the spot. It happens every day to this day in America. As black people, we are taught by our parents. If you get stopped by the damn popo, cooperate. Because if you do anything, they're going to take you out. We're taught, if you're driving or walking, don't make eye contact with them. Don't speak with them. And we know better not to do that. If you have a problem at your home and you need legal assistance, don't call the police. Because when they come there, they're going to get you too. On GP. So no. These people think they own us, they control us, and they don't have to respect our humanity. And it's up to us to change that. Right now, we have an ongoing revolution in Africa. Black people are standing up. And it's up for all us black people across the world to use our one nation power, because that's where the power is, as a group, not as a divided. Because the number one rule in war is to divide and conquer, and that's what they've done. You have black people in America. They call themselves FBAs. What the hell is an FBA? A foundational black American? What the hell are you talking about? No, just really think about it. Black people have been here in America for 1,000 years, thousands of years before Columbus or any European touched ground here. Are those foundational Americans? Foundational black Americans? See, but this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing. It's about divide and conquer. And they've been able to do that with great results. And this thing about nation. Nation doesn't mean that you're under somebody's government or that you have to adhere to it. It's setting up us to be a group of people, a large group taking advantage of all the black people in the world that can stand behind us. That's what building our nation is. If you don't, do you realize that the white folks have a nation? You know that. You know that United States, Canada, England, Germany, France, if anything goes down, they're coming together as one white nation. As a matter of fact, how they took Africa is one white nation. It wasn't one army that came through there. They came through there as a group. And that's how they took over. The only reason that they end up winning completely in the end is because they came with that Gatling and them cannons. They had that gunpowder first. If we had the gunpowder first, we wouldn't be in this situation. Black people might not even be here, but we would still be in America. But I'm saying is that no, if we had got that gunpowder first, it'd be a different ball game. But see, the thing about black people, we didn't never go out and conquer lands. Actually, we went out and exposed ourselves to the conquerors. They saw what we had and what we brought to them as we traveled the world. And that's why they went back to Africa to get more. That's why the Spanish Inquisition was basically about getting rid of the Moors, the black people that had to help develop that country for over 400 or 500 years. The same thing with the here in America. Here in America, the same thing. When they came here, the Native Americans the people here were a mixed race of people that had been here for thousands of years before these people showed up. But they didn't come here to be friends. They came to take shit. That's if you know your history, you know that Europeans fought each other for thousands of years. The Germans against the Prussians and the English against the Scottish, and that's what they did. They went out and conquered lands. The Vikings were conquerors. Christopher Columbus, he was a military soldier. When they came here and they saw how the people were with them and how they opened their arms and offered food and were being welcoming, his thing that he sent back to Portugal was, oh my God, these people are stupid. We can take everything. That was the thing. So the first thing to understand, the people that we're dealing with, their history is pillaging and plundering. They did that with their own people before they started on us. That's their history. That's the trauma of their history. Now, us black people, are experiencing a lot of trauma because over the past 500 years, they've been traumatizing us. But they're traumatized as well. That's why they can't change. That's why they can't flip the script. And the thing is, they made pillaging and plundering part of their religion. That's what their God tells them to do. So what we got to understand is that with us, we know the game. We've got the power now to fight back. Now, we can't go out in the streets and fight. We know that because, hell, in America, we can't do nothing. We can't beat the police force, let alone the National Guard and the Army. That's not the way you fight back. You fight back here. You fight back here. The one thing we know that we are way smarter than they are. And the reason we know that, because damn near everything that they've accomplished in this country has been on our backs. From the physical labor to the mental development, to the technological development. It's from us. They might put their name on it later, but that came from us. And they know that deep in their hearts. That's why they don't want us to leave them. As much as they spew this hate and their bigotry, they don't want us to leave them. They can't handle that if we left. They couldn't handle being alone with no black people. They can't, because they've leaned on us for hundreds of years for their way of life. And it's up to us to break that cycle. As Africa's going through its revolution, like I said, we need to go through ours, and we need to be smart about it. And that's the one thing that's really sickening, is because America has the most educated and developed black people in the world. And the thing is, we need to use what we've learned, because we know them some bitches better than they know themselves. We know who they are. So let's fight them here. We can win. We will win, because they're a declining race. They are a declining race. And this is because they're not reproducing on the level that we are. I mean, hell, a lot of countries around the world now, even China's reproduction rate has dropped. The highest reproduction rate in the world going forward is in Africa. The workforce in Africa, that 1.2 billion people, the workforce is under 19. We have an aging workforce here. It's around 45. China's is even higher. Japan's is even higher. China is integrating with the Africans, but they're doing that because they always have. They always have worked with the African people, because we're both formerly colonized countries. So there has always been a community there based on just the colonization. And you look at look in Burkina Faso, or in the Sahel period, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. They're running. They told the French and Americans, kick rocks, get out of here. And what was their response? Well, it's been over 20 attempts on the life of Ibrahim Traore. There was just a cool 3 weeks before Traore went to Russia to sit down with other world leaders that are not connected with America or its alliances. So, yes, and that happened. And that's part of our revolution. I mean, think about everything that we heard in America about what they say about Russia and Vladimir Putin. They want us to take, Putin threw a Russian out the window. Russians falling out of windows, or they're getting Whatever happened there. Well, we don't know the complete deal, but hell, they done a whole lot worse than that to us. Shit. What the fuck? I'm just saying, we're supposed to believe these people are evil, more evil than you are? Are you out of your damn minds? And think about this. Why did Russia and Vladimir Putin denounce their European connection and they call themselves now Eurasians? It's because they see which direction the world is going. Russia has been an ostracized country. They were never colonized, but they've always been ostracized by America and Europe. They're siding with the rest of the world. The rest of the world, actually, that's DEI. That is inclusive of all the people in the world, in the South, in the global South. I don't say all people in the world, but the global South is coming together as one big unit. And yes, America will not be part of that movement. They can do trades, they can work with them, but then they won't be included. Even Europe is abandoning America and forming alliances with China. Why do you think that is? It's because America has lost its goddamn mind. They have been doing evil for so long that it permeates in their existence. They can't get it out of them. They even call Jesus woke. He was too nice. We don't want that. Think about how evil that is. Just think about how evil that is, how far down the rabbit hole these people have gone, and how dangerous they really are. Because if you don't respect the word of God, if you're calling Jesus woke, if you're calling love of another man woke, because it includes non-white people, I mean, you assholes is totally lost. And guess what? You're going to lose your position in the world. You're going to lose everything. You're going to America's going to get broke down like 3 or 4 notches. Because it's not just, the trade could come back tomorrow, which I think they're already starting that up because they agreed to pause and go back to the tariffs that were before while they negotiate a new deal. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? All this hell that this country's going to go through, they did the same kind of trash, made the same white man's decision that they made back in 2008 when they lost $17 trillion. They did the same, they come back with the same white man trash today. But they are the superior beings. Give me a break, man. Well, folks, hey, if you watch this all the way through, tell me what you think, because this is some crazy stuff, some crazy times. But guess what? We're going to come out on top, because the people of God that maintains God's love and that loves other people to where we're not going to perform genocide on nobody. We're not going to go attack anybody. Yeah, us people, we're on a different path, because it don't matter what your spiritual belief is, what denomination you are, whether you don't believe in God at all. The spirit of the world that we're on, there's no favor there. God is in this world. It is. It's not who they just tell us God is, because far as with them, they say all God's angels are white. They're the angel food. And all the demons are black. They're the devil's food. These people are nuts. And it's time that we start to separate from them, let them do their own thing. We don't have to segregate. We don't have to ostracize. And it's, of course, it's not everybody, because each person finds their own spiritual awakening within themselves. But the overall group of white people in America, 77 million of them, are just as evil as the man at the top of the ladder.